I don't care if I don't care if Trump wins in 2020. Here's why. Leave me alone. You do you. So the reason I'm doing this Periscope, streams, whatever, is an exception to my usual rule. I don't explain myself. One of my main rules in life is I don't explain myself. I just do what I want to do, and you do what you want to do, and I don't care. You do you. I'm going to do me. But I'm tired of people asking, so now I can have it, boom, right here for people to refer to. I got other things I'm worried about, man. I'm busy guy. Busy guy, got a lot of things going on. As you can see, I'm looking pretty freaking yoked right now. Just got a good pump in the gym. My priorities in 2019, 2020, get another movie out, get Audacity released, lose another 15 pounds, get really jacked, look really hot. That's all I care about. 2015, 2016 created an existential threat to the world with Hillary Clinton. She was a unique evil. I didn't care about Barack Obama. I block people who go, Obama was Muslim, hated America. I block all those people. I think you're weird. I think if you think Obama was a Muslim who hated America, you're weird. You're probably going to do something dumb. I'm going to get blamed for it. So I don't even want that vibe around me. He was just whatever. Hillary Clinton was the unique evil. She's a truly evil person. Probably the only time in my life that's the only candidate for president I would say she was evil. Hillary Clinton was evil. She wanted World War III. She was demonic, satanic, call it whatever you want. Tulsi Gabbard, not evil. Bernie, not evil. Bernie's just wrong. But he's not evil. There's a difference. Beto, not evil. He's just wrong. There's a difference between evil and wrong. So 2020, I just don't really care. Just don't care. Doesn't mean I'm anti-Trump. A lot of people don't understand that there's a difference between I don't care versus anti-Trump. I'm not anti-Trump. I just don't care. If he wins in 2020, good for him. If he loses in 2020, okay, fine, whatever. Also, I'm just a little burned out by the really MAGA. I don't know if they're real or if they're bots or whatever, but I'm just burned out by people saying you're fake MAGA, you're fake patriot. Just go away. There are people begging you. They will say anything about Trump for views. I don't need it. I keep growing. I keep growing all the time, having my own message. My hybrid approach of filmmaking and writing and mindset work and gym stuff and socio-political commentary and litigation and everything else. I got a lot of, I'm still growing. I'm bigger than all those lapdogs, right? All those people going fake patriot. I'm bigger than all those accounts. And they're nobody without Trump. Unless they're kissing Trump's booty, nobody even cares if they're alive. I can criticize Trump, praise him, talk about my dog, talk about fashion, talk about attractive women, attractive men. I can do whatever I want. Book reviews, and people read me. And more people read me. And the demand is stronger every year. So I don't have to pander. I don't have to pander to the pro-Trump people for anything. So I just don't really care. You do you. If you're hardcore pro-Trump, good for you. God bless you. Have fun in 2019. Have fun in 2020. And enjoy your life. Keep me out of it. I just don't care. Lecturing me, yelling at me, call me fake patriot, fake MAGA. I rode the coattails of MAGA. How? MAGA people, for the most part, trust me, I've done this for a long time, and I know who you want reading you and how that works and who you don't. So anybody thinking I've ever ridden, just be clear, I'm not riding MAGA's coattails. If all you want is pro-MAGA hot takes, you can go ahead and unfollow me. I'm fine with that. So you guys just do what you want to do. I don't care. But if you love him, go for it. Love Trump. If you hate him, I don't really want hate any, really. So if you're a hater of Trump or a hater of anybody, I don't want any haters. Okay, I'm going to take calls. We haven't done calls in a while. I forgot the call-in number, actually. That's funny. So I actually forgot the call-in number because we have not done calls in such a long time that I don't even know what the call-in number is. Here you go. 1-866-438-1487. The phone number is 1-866-438-1487. Go ahead. Call me. Let's chat. Let's talk. Here you go. You're a fake loser, MAGA idiot. How much did they pay you? Loser. So, I mean, that's what you deal with if you're a MAGA or even perceived as a MAGA company. That's the level of commentary that you can expect. Just very low intellect, very low consciousness, very just angry people. I just don't care. I don't care. So that's the level. You're fake MAGA. You're the, okay, whatever. Cry more. Go cry. There's people begging. There's people begging for you to take your, yes, the phone number is 866-438-1487. I'll say it one more time. 866-438-1487. Call me up. Talk to me. You've lost your touch. I'll just block you. So right now I'm just going to block all those people who are, being upset and, everybody's upset. You are low intellect. So yeah, I'm really losing, I'm losing followers. This is great. So I'll be, I'll be losing the low consciousness, low IQ people who are just angry. I just don't care. And what I love about that is people go, so who are you voting for? I don't care. It's almost like people can't comprehend. Sorry, people, I just hung up on you. My apologies. Hold on. Pontiac, Michigan. Oh, hold on. Okay, hold on. Pontiac, Michigan. How you doing?
Good. How are you, Mike?
Doing well. Hello?
You doing okay?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Thank you. How are you?
Good. I just wanted to let you know I ordered your youth serum.
Uh-huh.
And I've been using it for about almost 3 weeks, and I love it. I mean, it's literally taking away my wrinkles. Now, I've tried to get my husband to use it. Took him about a week, and he's been using it for about 2 weeks, and we've already noticed some of the harder lines in his forehead totally disappearing. Just to let you know, we love it. Youth serum.
Yeah, hey, yeah, thank you. Yeah, no, thank you for that. Yeah, there's a hyaluronic acid serum that I use and endorse, and people love it. I've been using it myself all the time. I noticed, especially if you're over like 40, if you're a man, you have to be really on board, especially, women and everybody. You have to be really on board. So yeah, it's been really great stuff, but I'm glad you got your husband using it. I'm, all the men out there that are afraid to be, it's okay. There's a difference between being obsessed with your looks and being, a bit too much, and just spending, 3, 4, 5 minutes a day on skincare. You look better and you'll feel better.
Absolutely. Well, anyways, thanks again.
Thank you. God bless. Escondido, California.
Hey, how's it going, Mike?
Doing well.
I totally understand what you're saying. Obviously, at the end of the day, I think you bring up a good point that the right just doesn't have the radicals that the left does, and we just go about and live our life. And regardless of whether somebody supports Trump or not, I mean, we'd like him to win, but hey, right, if it's going to come at a cost, like we totally got your back, Mike. I mean, no harm, no foul. You give great political philosophy, and we just hope that you continue doing it.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate the call. Yeah, that's just something that a lot of people who are binary thinkers don't realize, that I got no hate for people who support Trump. I just don't. I have other things to do with my time, and it gets annoying every day. People are like, you got to defend the president. You got to. No, I don't have to defend Trump. I don't have to. I don't have to do anything that I don't want to do. And having people every day, probably 30 or 40 times a day, why aren't you supporting Trump? Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? It's like, okay, now the marker's on the table. Go. Everybody else can go do that. Good for them. No hate. Nothing but love. for people who want to do that. But it just doesn't interest me anymore. It hasn't interested me in a while. And I don't anticipate that it's going to interest me in the future. So, yeah, thanks for the call. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mike.
Meads, Kentucky, how you doing?
Mike?
Hi.
Hello?
Yes, sir. We hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, you was on speakerphone. Yeah, I'm just calling in. I'm a big supporter of you. It's strange how that ends so quickly. I have nothing to say about your skincare line or anything like that. I haven't tried it out maybe at some point. But about most of the stuff that you're doing, why is it that you think that people are kind of unfollowing you simply for not having the same ideology?
Well, there's a lot of people. So the good news is that I'm still in growth mode, but there's a lot of people, and I get their point of view. So here's the point of view of a Trump reporter or a Trump supporter that I find reasonable. You're like, man, if I want people criticizing Trump, I can turn on every network in the world and watch that. So if I follow people on Twitter, I only want them to praise Trump. I get that totally. I completely understand that. But to me, only praising Trump or only praising anyone would just bore me to death. But there's a lot of people that's all they want to see. And then there's a lot of people too. I don't know if they're being paid or if they're bots or whatever they are, but they yell at people if the person's not supporting Trump enough. So my notifications are just very nasty. Why aren't you supporting our president? And you're fake Trump, fake MAGA, fake this. They don't even sound like real people, actually. They all kind of sound the same. And so I don't even know if, yeah.
Who isn't a bot anymore?
Right, exactly, right. Yeah, they could be, but they don't sound authentic because it's almost like they have the same 5 talking points. You're a fake MAGA, you're a patriot, and it's just over and over and over repetitive. So for me, if people just wonder, now I can just say, hey, just go watch this video. I explain my point of view. That's not really my thing. That's not really what I'm into. You can go, I don't know, what are these Trump super PACs doing, by the way? So what I find funny, too, amongst Trump supporters who yell at me, and I'm like, well, there's hundreds of millions of dollars in Trump super PACs. Can anyone tell me what those Trump super PACs are doing with all that money? Why don't you go yell at them? Why don't you go yell at people making hundreds of millions of dollars in those Trump super PACs and say, where are the movies? Where's your film? Where's your media? Where's your reporting? Where's your anything? Right? So I find it amusing that I become a scapegoat in MAGA world when I don't make a dime off of any of the Trump stuff. And there are people making, raising hundreds of millions of dollars in super PACs, and there's nothing to show for. So it's like, maybe those people yelling at me are actually bots from the super PACs, right? Because if you're actually a Trump supporter, you would say, yeah, where is all that super PAC money going? What is being done with all that, with hundreds of millions of dollars in these things? What's actually being done with that? Maybe I should go ask those people those questions rather than, nitpick and scream and throw temper tantrums about, Cernovich every day, right? That's sort of, to me, that's what things that make you go, right? It's like, why yell at me all day? That's not my job. Supporting Trump's not my job. There's people, it's their job to support Trump. And they're raising all this money. And what are they doing with it?
You think these are like conservative NPCs?
Oh, yeah, for sure. They're just not thoughtful. Yeah, no. Yeah, because their talking points are the same. Their talking points are not, you can they're script them. Fake patriot, and they say, always spell it P-A-Y. So they'll go, you're a fake patriot, which I always find ironic because patriot means I'm being paid to say what I'm saying. But if you call me a fake patriot, then you would actually be saying that I'm not a patriot because the fake would negate. So they're not even smart. So assuming they're real, yeah, well, you're calling me a fake patriot, but that would mean that I'm not a patriot. That's how dumb. So there is a whole, yeah, exactly. So they're not even, again, they're not the kind of people you want listening. I had a whole bunch of other people online. Thanks for the call. Dayton, Ohio, how you doing?
Hey, Mike, how's it going?
Doing well.
I've seen a complete shift in who the Trump base is within the last year. You know me, Mike. I've been in Ohio. I supported the president from the beginning. I worked for him from the beginning, and we're just seeing a different shift. The original Trump people who campaigned for immigration, the wall, trade, all the issues, they're kind of, based upon some of the recent actions, they're just kind of sitting back and, they're not supporting the president, but there certainly isn't the enthusiasm that there was in 2016. And like you said, there's some conservative NPCs that have come on that I didn't see in the beginning. They weren't with you in Cleveland when you guys had, your unity rally down at Cernovich Park, the convention. I didn't even see these people until after the convention, and I'm concerned, and I totally understand where you're coming from when it comes to supporting the president, because I'm people are seeing results, and if things are going to change, if the president's serious about winning in 2020, things are going to have to change.
Yeah, there's a number of issues. One is, the people around Trump aren't the people who got him elected. There's a saying that goes, the people who began the revolution aren't the ones who end it. And the people who are really out on the front lines and took those hits for Trump, they didn't get rewarded by Trump's people or Trump that. The people who were against Trump got the best jobs in the White House, right? The people who were against Trump are the ones who got rewarded. And I think that's kind of funny when you actually look at who's around Trump. It isn't the people who were really working for Trump to help him out who got anything out of it. Everybody else kind of came in, and that's what, because the people around Trump are fake people. They don't like him. They just want the power, the access, or the money. They're not true MAGA believers. So they're not waking up, fired up, charged, ready to go, ready to really, hit the streets for Trump and boost Trump. They're just like, I'm getting a big paycheck, making a lot of money, schmoozing. This guy Trump, he'll be gone soon anyway, and I got this cool job at the State Department or whatever. So they don't care. That's why you don't feel that magnetism, that vibe that you felt in 2015, 2016. And people get mad at me, but that isn't my fault. I'm not the one who hired a bunch of GOP stooges and Romney people to work around Trump. That was done by Trump's people.
Yeah, I'm going to give you an example from Ohio here. In 2016, I was part of the team that helped him not only just in the primary, but I helped him get on the ballot. I helped gather signatures. And one of the parts of the Ohio ballot access process is that when the candidates submit their petitions, they name potential candidates to the Republican National Convention for delegates. And because Trump did not win Ohio in the primary, he lost to Kasich. We fought hard, but we lost to Kasich because he did happen to be the sitting governor. A lot of those early Trump supporters who we had declared as candidates didn't make it to the National Convention. Well, in the run-up to the Republican, are those people going to go back? Are those people going to be listed as, potential Trump delegates when he goes out for his ballot access? I doubt it. And a lot of the people that were looking forward to being part of a 2020 Trump convention now know that they're not going to be part of it. And some of the same Kasich supporters now are going to be so-called Trump delegates when they were working against us in 2016 in the primary. And I understand that you have to.
Right, and let me talk. Yeah, you're making great points, so I can tell that you were inside the campaign and you understand it. Right, the people who are opposed Trump in 2015 and 16, they're going to be the Trump delegates in 2020. The people who lost jobs, they lost friendships, they lost relationships. The people who actually lost things to support Trump, they were all squeezed out. So this is what I tell people. A lot of people don't like to hear it, but I don't really care because I get to say what I want to say. If you're a man or a woman of talent and you have something to lose, stay away from Trump because you're not going to get anything out of it. You're going to lose everything. And then the people who fought against Trump are going to get everything. So why in the world would you sacrifice for a movement that doesn't care about you? It makes no sense, right?
Yeah, and at the end of the day, a lot of my Trump supporter friends ask, are you going to be working?
Sorry, we have more people online. Go ahead, finish up, and I got to take more calls.
Okay. Yeah, and a lot of my Trump support friends ask, hey, are you going to be involved in the next campaign? I said, absolutely. But you know what? I'm also going to be working at the local level because I think that's another aspect that people can do, to make their little corner of America great again. And, I've been working with local people that kind of have a Trump mindset. They're not exactly like Trump. They're not robots because, I don't want NPC politicians. I think that's my final point is, if you really want to make America great again, work to make your little corner of America great again. And I love what you're doing with mindset and everything. And I just, I want to encourage you to keep up doing what you're doing, Mike.
Thank you, my friend. Have a great night. Twin Cities, Minnesota. How you doing?
Good, Mike. How are you?
Doing well.
Hey, man. Been a follower of yours for a long time, and I want you to know I appreciate all the work that you're doing. There's a lot of good journalists out there, and you're one of my favorites, so keep up the great work. I actually just got Guerrilla Mindset as a gift, and a little feedback. I'm about halfway through, and it has already helped me immensely. So thank you for that. I guess my question, and I'll make it short, I know you probably have a lot of other callers there, but I was wondering if you would ever be interested into getting into the debate scene, debating somebody like Sam Cedar or David Packman. Is that something that you would be interested in?
I'm not really into debates per se, unless there were a topic, because I guess the issue is I don't disagree with a lot of what people say other than the censorship people. So I'm not really interested in debating most of the issues. So healthcare, one of the things that I find interesting about political commentators is they believe they have strongly held opinions on everything. And I don't have strongly held opinions on very many issues. I'm like you said, you've been reading Guerrilla Mindset. I'm glad you enjoy it. I have strongly held opinions on mindset. So maybe free will, if somebody wanted to debate, is there free will? If so, what is the extent of it? That would be a debate that's interesting to me. Are we living in a simulation? That would be something very, very fun. But garden variety political stuff doesn't excite me, doesn't get me up in the morning, and I don't watch the debates, and I don't participate in them. But I'm not averse to them, but it would have to be something that interested me and that would excite me to do my research and homework for.
So it sounds like you'd maybe be interested in a debate with, about free will with somebody like Nathan Bernard or Vic Berger?
Well, I don't know that I would want to debate any low grade person about that. But if there were a real intellectual who, wanted to have a debate about issues and they were intelligent, then I would be interested. But it would have to be somebody who could really, really bring the points, not the low grade, low consciousness people. Winnipeg, I believe. How you doing, Winnipeg?
Winnipeg? No way. Is me on the line there?
That's you, man. It's your area code, so wherever your area code shows up, that's where it is.
I just wanted to call your book there, Guerrilla Mindset, helped me with my book or with my sales job there. I wanted to thank you for that. It's a good book.
My pleasure.
And then, hey, I was just going to say, I'm a history guy. My boy Trump, he likes all those anti-jobs.
Hold on. You're fading out, my friend. Fading out. We'll take your call back again. You were losing reception. Rochester, New York. How you doing?
Hey, Mike. What's going on?
Living the dream.
Yeah. Me too. Me with this with Trump with the whole deep state thing. I think he's had such a tepid response. Yeah, he talks a lot of smack on Twitter, but he really hasn't done anything. It's like the president of the United States. You would think with the magnitude of this, this is an attempted coup, an overthrow of an elected official. Like, I would expect something a little more aggressive. It's just annoying.
Well, that bored. Yeah, I'm so bored by Trump that it's really kind of hard to overstate. Just okay, you're on Twitter. You're the president of the United States. Twitter is for people like us to cry about, right? We don't like something. Fake news media wrote a hate piece on Cernovich. Gosh darn it. Go read Cernovich.com and find out that this is a fake article. That's what you do if you're just a schmuck, right? Like me. There's, right, you're president of the United States. Act like it.
Yeah, like, you should be making more, making more decisions, doing more things, and it's just the thing. And what really annoys me are these Trump supporters, they're Kool-Aid drinkers. They're like, just wait, it's part of the plan. Just wait for the plan. Him and Sessions, they got something going on, like QAnon and like the Trump prophecy. Like, dude, you're embarrassing yourself. That's not what's happening. Like. It's just hard to do to some people. They just keep thinking like there's some grander plan, but I just don't see it. I never did, but I just don't see what these people keep thinking is going on. It's just not.
People have a need to believe. People definitely have a need to believe. It's human nature, right? You want to believe that what you've invested so much time on, you want to believe that it matters, but it does matter. We prevented truly in my lifetime, I'm 41, we prevented the only truly evil candidate who had run for office in my lifetime, which is Hillary Clinton.
Oh, yeah.
Bill Clinton, bad guy. Bill Clinton, bad guy. Yeah, Obama, has some problems. Hillary Clinton was evil. That was why we would be in World War III right now. There would be a nuclear winter right now in the world. My God, if Hillary Clinton had won.
Yeah, exactly, because that was half the reason I voted for Trump was because of his stance with Russia and Syria and all this stuff. And she wanted to go in and she wanted to cross through all these red lines and get in the crap with Putin and, get us further entangled into the Mideast. And, Trump, to his credit, he has reined in a lot of that, but I still think more can be done.
Yeah, great points as always. Thank you, sir. Have a nice night. We have a bunch of callers online. So we have a bunch of callers online. I'm going to try to get to all of you. I don't do call-in shows often. When I do, I really stay on until I can talk to everyone because I don't want to leave anyone hanging. So try not to hang up. If you get tired of being on hold, I understand. Just know the line is long. It's not you. It's me. Ithaca, New York. How you doing?
Hello, Mike. For some time now, I've been concerned about the Scientology influence on the Trump administration. Bob and Trish Duggan were at the inauguration. John Mathon is funding Candace Owens and Turning Point, and Joy Villa is parading around in anti-abortion dresses when Scientology actually forces people in Scientology to get abortion. So I was wondering if their financial influence is something to be concerned about as far as you're concerned.
I've had a couple people mention the Scientology thing, and I'll be honest with you, I don't know. I know that people claim Joy Villa is a Scientologist, and she claims she's not, that she took some courses, and then other people say, when you're in Scientology, that's what they tell you to say, and there's just all this swirl around the issue, so I legitimately don't know. I do know Joy Villa is a positive influence on the pro-life movement, and I do know she's always been nothing but nice and supportive and compassionate to me. So I have nothing negative. In fact, not only do I have nothing negative to say about Joy, I have only positive things to say about her. But people have done streams about the Scientology thing and some P.O. box and everything else. And I determined it was inconclusive. And she's just been great to me. And I think she's a net gain for the Trump movement. I know Grant Cardone is a Scientologist. And he said he's a Scientologist, and he writes great books and everything like that. So when it comes to Scientology, Yasher is very, very critical of it. And he always brings up, I read Yasher Ali a lot, and he always goes Joy Villa. And, he's really, really anti-hardcore, anti-Scientology. Grant Cardone, I think, does great work in this world. And he says that he's a Scientologist. And I know other people who are. So my take on all of that is I don't know. I don't know if there's a lot of Scientology people into the White House that are trying to get influence. I am aware that people say there is. So to answer your question on the nose, because I'm not dodging, I'm just articulating my thoughts and telling you what I know about it. I'm not worried about it because I don't know and I haven't reached a conclusion. And I do know a lot of the conversation around at least Scientology practitioners. Like Grant Cardone's a great man, helping people, writing great books, inspiring people. Joy Villa's, moving the ball downfield and is always super positive and upbeat and everything. So I think that if people have a problem with Scientology, then they should be better Christians and be better exemplars of their religion and of their beliefs and be more inspirational and more positive and more upbeat. And then that'll draw more people attention to them. But yeah, I'm aware of the conversations happening, and I've kind of checked into it. So I'm not worried about it. And I guess I'm not afraid of Scientology in a way that a lot of people are. And I've watched the Joe Rogan podcast with Leia. I read the book, Going Clear, I think it's called. So I've read the book Going Clear and, everything else. But the way I look at it too is evangelical Christians, there's a lot of bad stuff written about them. But I know a lot of great evangelical Christians too. So when it comes down to that, again, those are my thoughts on Scientology. My mind's always open. I'm always down to watch more YouTube videos. And if things come up, I'm always there to change it. Go ahead. Yeah, of course.
There's a YouTube video by Mark Rathbun, one of the highest level people to lead Scientology, called Miscavige in the Media. I'm looking at it right now on YouTube by Mark Rathbun. And it goes into detail about the levels they will go to micromanage their image publicly. So I encourage everyone to watch that. I can tweet it at you right now. And I believe that Joy Villa is being stage managed by Scientology headquarters. That's my belief.
Well, I'm aware that people have made that claim. So I look into everything. Everything that got really big with her, I think about a year ago around the time of the California GOP convention. So not the last one, the one before that. So 13, 14 months ago, that one got really, really big. And I haven't heard her mention Scientology to anybody. And in fact, if you ask her about it, she's completely open about it. And so people can say, oh, well, she's not telling the truth. I'm aware of I'm a lawyer, right? I'm aware of the counter arguments on both sides, but she's never denied having taken some courses, and she denies being, a high level person or whatever that even means. On the other hand, I'm aware of, claims that people are managed and they're, managed from headquarters and everything else. So I get all sides. So I can just tell you from what I've looked into it and what I've read into it and what I know about people who are actually Scientologists, it's not something that keeps me up at night or something that worries me. And I've watched the Sea Org videos on YouTube. I've read all the paperwork and everything like that. It just doesn't keep me up at night, but I realize it concerns a lot of other people like you, and I totally respect that. Have a great night. Okay, West Palm Beach, Florida. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing well. How about yourself, Mike?
Doing well.
I was just calling because I heard you talking about money in politics before, and I just wanted to ask, I agree that the super PACs thing is a problem, but that's part of why I was so enthusiastic about Trump in 2016 was because I felt like a self-funded candidacy might be the only alternative, i.e., even people getting money from small donors are then beholden to certain demographics and certain political ideas. So I just wanted to know if you were sympathetic about that, and also what your thoughts are on the national debt, whether or not that's an issue, because it seems like a lot of people now just break down on that and say they don't really care.
So two questions. One is the super PACs. What are they doing, right? That's my more interest. I'm not offended by them. I'm just thinking, though, there's hundreds of millions of dollars. I made a great movie with $300,000. So where's their movie? Yeah. Where's their movie, right? What are they doing? Yeah. Right? That's my whole take on it. It's like, okay, you're there. You have hundreds of millions of dollars. You could have a production company. You could have had 10 pro-Trump movies, right? So, like, what are they doing?
Even these candidates like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, they get millions and millions from constituents and from people all over the country, basically just to enrich themselves. I mean, they can say, oh, look, we've got, a Twitter following and we're getting people, excited about democratic ideas. But when you really look at it, it all just seems like the money just kind of fuels the candidate's self-aggrandizement and not really, like you're saying, no movie ever gets made. Nobody's hearts and minds ever get changed.
Yeah. So for me, I'm just curious what people are doing, and whatever they're doing. As far as the national debt goes, I've heard multiple arguments about it. One thing I find interesting is when Republicans are in office, they don't care about the debt anymore. When they're in a minority, oh my God, the national debt is a disaster. What are you going to do? I've read other people say that if borrowing costs are still so low on the debt, we should take out more money. The national debt isn't high enough. Proof of that is the yields and how low it is. So for me, I know that when I was a kid, the national debt was $3 trillion. Fact check me on it. I don't know. But it was like a big deal. $3 trillion, and then it was $7 trillion. And I don't ever hear about it anymore. Hold on. What's the national debt right now? Do you know off the top of your head right now?
I think it's something like
22 trillion. Okay. Okay, hold on. I'm going to the debt clock right now. Because I remember in grade school.
We're spending $380 billion. We spent $380 billion in 2018 just on interest.
Okay, it's 22 trillion. It's 22 trillion. And I remember when it was Reagan, it was maybe 7 trillion, and everybody was like really worried about it. And then you had there was going to be a contract with America, and there was going to be a balanced budget amendment. And now just nobody really talks about it. So I find that interesting. So on the national debt, people who have good judgment and are smarter than me have told me that it probably could be a lot higher. That to me just doesn't feel right. That said, I don't want to it just doesn't feel right. I mean, what if we default? It doesn't feel, it feels like a lot of money. It feels like a bad thing, but I don't know. I think it's bad. I think we should be paying it down. Nobody cares. No, people pretend to care around election season, but nobody actually cares. And maybe that should trouble us even more.
I think so. I mean, I think it's really when they talk about sticking it to the taxpayer and to poor Americans. I mean, if our credit rating were to go down, everybody knows who would be affected. If the dollar were to deflate and we'd lose our position. And just that number, $380 billion in 2018, just on interest payments. I mean, that money could be going to, the vets. I know people in VA hospitals on waiting lists. So it's crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot of money, man. All right, dude. Thanks for the call.
Thank you. Bye.
Washington, Virginia. .703 area code.
Hello?
Hello.
Hey, how are you doing today, Cernovich?
Well, dude.
Good. I just wanted to ask you specifically about Trump's presidency and how he sort of just cucked out on a lot of these issues that he focused on a lot during the election. So sort of what I view it as that the first 2 years, we kind of wanted to get all these standard establishment Republican things out of the way. So tax cuts, moving embassy to Jerusalem, pulling out Iranian nuclear deal, removing the Obamacare individual mandate, et cetera, and now they're entering his later years in his presidency. I was just going to ask you, do you think he's just sort of cut down, he's turned into like this establishment Republican president again, or do you think it's just the deep state and the people around him who are just blocking him from pursuing like the real MAGA agenda that we voted him to do?
Well, Trump surrounded himself with GOP stooges who had conventional thinking. So Trump ran, and this is often the case, Trump ran an unconventional campaign, wins, and then he brings in all the conventional thinkers who would have lost. And then, tax cuts, right? That was as big as tax cuts. Not wall funding, not anything, tax cuts. Well, that's just a traditional, any GOP, Mitt Romney would have given tax cuts. Jeb Bush would. What is Trump given that Jeb Bush or Mitt Romney wouldn't have given? That's the fundamental question. That's kind of the thought experiment. That said, he has remained strong on regime change. That's why I give Trump an 8.5 out of 10. I'm not anti-Trump. He's the 8.5. We'd be in World War III if Hillary Clinton had won. If Marco Rubio had won, we'd be in war in Venezuela, bro. We would literally be, if Marco Rubio had won president, we would literally be in war in Venezuela if Rubio had won. So when it's a daily grind, a lot of us tend to think, well, what's he done lately? What's he done recently? And I think, well, what hasn't he done? He hasn't escalated troops in Syria. He hasn't gotten us to World War III with Russia because Turkey and Russia are beefing. He hasn't gotten us into Venezuela, which is the big push that deep state is making. So I look at, he maybe hasn't done a lot of the things I wanted him to do, but he has not gotten us into another war. So for that, again, despite my many, many criticisms, he still gets an 8.5. Knoxville, Tennessee, how you doing? We can hear you clicking your phone, but we can't hear you talk. We hear you, bro. Okay, we'll come back to you.
Hello?
Davis, California, how you doing?
Oh, hey, how you doing, Mike?
Living the
So
dream.
nice to talk to you.
Pleasure.
I just wanted to say a couple things. One is excellent job on the movie Hoax. I wish
Thank you.
Could play that to everybody I know. And can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can. Thank you.
Oh, okay, good. The other thing is, just by watching you and hearing the tone of your voice, I kind of feel like I can relate to you, that you feel maybe a little bit bullied by, surprisingly, the Trump people. I live in California, so I get bullied by the Hillary people. And they always want to know my politics, and I just want to tell them to shut the hell up and leave me alone, but they won't do it. They always want to know, no matter what, they always want to know, who are you going to vote for, who are you going to go vote for? And if you say, I don't care, then they accuse you of not caring about America or whatever. So, like, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. So I can feel you from, like, a different perspective on that. And I can't even imagine the pressure you have of being on live stream with all these people watching you, trying to put you into a box. And so I just want to commend you on your strength in putting up with all that.
Yeah, you're right. It's exasperating. That really, you're right that there's a certain tone. It's just a sense of, it isn't like crying. It isn't feeling sorry for yourself. Poor me. It's just, leave me alone. Like, go somewhere else. Like, why are you people still here? They're really, that's, if I say, how do I feel about the heart? Just exasperated. Like, there are so many other places you can go. Why are you here? Just leave me alone. Yeah. You're not making me cry. You're not bullying me into like to being sad. You're not going to bully me into like wanting to do things. You're just, you go away and be happy and live your life and live your life with your family, or go give your views to a bigger, to another Twitter account. Build people up who are bigger than me.
You have a right to talk about what you want to talk about. We have a right to listen to what we want to listen to.
Oh, you're not making me cry. You're not bullying. Yeah, exactly. Sorry, little back interference.
Yeah, and I kind of lost my train of thought, but no, I like hearing things like you're talking about, like the things you put on your face and stuff. I got a scar, I just had a neck surgery, and so I was thinking, oh yeah, that sounds good. I'll try that out. See if that fixes that scar or whatever. I'm happy that you are pushing against the mob to be who you want to be. And I commend you for that. And I was wondering also, I guess, because I could talk to you all day, I was just wondering one more thing. Are you looking at maybe making a Hoax 2 or something like that? Because I think that movie could have been 6 hours long.
Yeah, we're looking at making a series, Hoax the series, and we got to decide. We have such a successful run so far, and we're not even 10% into the release, that we have to decide if we're going to do a series on Hoaxed or if we're going to do another new film. I kind of want to do a film on the simulation. We are, though, releasing all the long-form interviews, so you can find the Jordan Peterson interview, Cassie J, Anthony Scaramucci, Hawk Newsom. We're going to release the full Scott Adams interview next, which is going to be really exciting and mind-blowing. So even if there's not a Hoax series or Hoax Part 2, you will get an additional probably 20 hours of of raw interviews. And my interviews alone is 11 hours. So I think we'll wait till very, very last, because that'll take like a month just to process and everything. But thank you for the call, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, Knoxville, Tennessee, you're back.
Hey, Mike, how you doing?
Doing well.
Sweet. Hey, I just made this call to ask you, do you think you'd do maybe a sit-down kind of interview conversation deal with Vox anytime soon?
I'll do sit-down interviews with most people. I haven't done interviews in a long time. I just got, maybe burnout isn't the right word, but for me, if you do an interview with other people, you have to schedule them. And my life right now is just not schedulable. So I did a media hit with Anomaly yesterday, and that was because he just messaged me, texted me and said, "Hey man, you want to go live in 5?" And I was like, "Oh, sure. I'm in my office. I wash my face. Let's go live." So that's people the same thing. They go, "Why aren't you on Alex Jones anymore?" Whatever. Because you have to schedule that stuff in advance. And my day is just really, I'm doing a lot of crisis PR and a lot of other things that I've been working on. So I just don't have time to schedule things, but long sit down, long form interviews are always a good time. Thank you for the call. Danbury, Connecticut. How you doing?
Hey, Mike, I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing well.
Good. I just had a question on, you were talking about the debt earlier. Have you heard of the modern monetary theory that they're trying to espouse now?
Maybe. Go ahead and elaborate in 15 seconds or less.
So the modern monetary theory is basically the idea that debt doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, no, I'm aware of that. That's what I was. Yeah, that's what I was getting at when I mentioned when I was talking about the debt earlier. So I didn't know that it was called I didn't know the name of it, but yeah, that's what I'd been reading.
Right, and so there's actually quote unquote economic theorists that are coming out with all of this nonsense that are saying that you can just continue to push along the debt and it just doesn't matter anymore. And I mean, I kind of thought that Trump would be the wrecking ball to come in as the debt person to come in and do that. But I mean, if it's not him, I don't really see any other person to come in and at the very least tackle Social Security and some of those major debt drivers that nobody's even talking about. And so I just kind of want to know what your opinion is on how we address that question and how we eventually turn that corner.
Well, the answer is I don't know. Maybe I'm falling for monetary debt theory. So I would need, the way to turn the corner is you would need a real powerhouse like Nassim Taleb or somebody who's very, very well respected to say something that sounded very smart to persuade me. So, because I can't be an expert on everything, and I'm not an expert on the modern debt. So I'm willing to outsource my judgment to people who have a track record of strong judgment, a track record of being a formidable intellectual, and to go through the data. So if Nassim Taleb comes out and says, here's why that's wrong, I'm willing to just say, okay, Nassim said it. How in the heck am I going to know more about it than him? So if you want to turn it around, you need the real powerhouses, the people who are respected to come out and demolish it. That's how you change minds. And right now, there's nobody at that level changing minds. So I don't want people to harass poor Nassim and say, you got to talk about this or whatever. But fundamentally, I'm okay to admit that on issues like that, I'm willing to defer to other people who have a track record of good judgment on these issues and who can provide a persuasive analysis. And when I see that, I'll watch it, and then we'll go from there.
Awesome. And that's why I really appreciate you and your analysis on everything, because I was also kind of questioning about, you've asked many questions about the dark intellectual web and how they kind of really only debate internally. And someone had asked you a question about debating externally, and I think that your question to me right there just provides the answer of you're not the expert and know all be all, but you're willing to be convinced by ideas that persuade you. And that's awesome. That's why I like it, man.
Yeah, thank you. I'm willing to show the work, right? Here's what I think. Here's why. Show me where my reasoning is wrong, and we can work it out. And I'm willing to admit that I'm not an expert on everything, or even most things, or even more than a few. I'm an expert on mindset, health, fitness, few things.
I don't think anybody can be an expert on more than two things at once. You know, there's so many different things that specialization requires so much knowledge. It's really hard to kind of delve down into the details of everything, you know.
Well, thank you for the call.
Yes, sir. Have a good.
Carbondale, Illinois. How you doing? Southern Illinois University's down there, isn't it?
Oh, hi, is it me?
Yeah, it's you.
Do you think Biden can actually be a formidable candidate against Trump? Like, do you think he can coalesce the party behind him, like uniting the progressives behind him in the 2020 election?
I don't know, man. I'm of the mind that 2020 is, you can give people a good horse race and say so-and-so is pulling it here and here's pulling there. I have no idea, man. So much is going to happen. Trump is such a great candidate. He's so strong when his back against the wall. His CPAC thing, we hadn't seen Trump like that in months. So I'm perfectly comfortable saying I have no idea. I think Biden could have beat him in 2016, but I don't know that he does in 2020.
I don't see how like progressive candidates could go behind and support Biden, especially because he's old and he's white. I don't see how they can be supportive of him.
Yeah, the infighting. Might, but there's it's too early to tell, right? Because Bernie's white, and the youth vote under 45 adores him. So I don't know. They're in a knife fight, though. They're in a knife fight, and they're on third. Beto is now on record saying he supports abortion up to the moment the baby's born. Come on, right? Do you want to win in 2020? You people sound like lunatics. That would be like a Republican saying you ought to be able to own tanks, right? That's like the equivalent. That's how crazy that sounds, even as someone like me whose views on abortion are not the same as most people on the right. I'm thinking, dude, third trimester, 8 months into it? No. You people, you're trying to lose 2020. So it's way too early to tell, but I was actually thinking about it as I was backing my car up to go to the gym. I thought Trump is so beatable in 2020. It's almost like Democrats want to lose in 2020 because they're pandering to people on these really fringe issues that you're not moving the ball. I look at things in terms of, are you moving the ball downfield? Transgender athletes in sports, sorry, not a big issue. In fact, it's going to alienate suburban moms and dads. It's actually not only not a huge issue that's going to get you votes, it's going to cost you votes. Third trimester abortions, women don't want third trimester abort. That's such a fringe issue. Go poll women and say, hey, if a baby is going to be born in a week, is it okay to pry that baby's head out with forceps? They're going to be like, what are you, some kind of monster? It's such a fringe issue, right? Just say no. Yeah. Just say no. No, not third trimester. That's crazy.
The Supreme Court, they're talking about like changing the whole structure of the Supreme Court. I mean, other than like the very far left, who can support actually changing like how many justices are on the Supreme Court?
Yeah, the norm attacking, it's not really visceral. That's kind of a wonky issue. But the issue, like, should an 8-month-old baby, should you be able to pry that out and, do all that stuff with it? That's absurd. That's absurd. So the left, they really are pandering to the most fringe elements. And that could cost them. Those videos are going to, everything is video now. So there's video now of Beto saying he's okay with basically infanticide. He's basically okay with that. That video's there forever. Not good, man.
And just think of the infight among the progressives when like Biden says he's not supportive of those type of abortions.
Yeah, but he's got enough name recognition. Yeah, but they'll have to come around and vote for him. Fundamentally, the loud, noisy people are gonna have, you got to vote for him, or maybe they stay home. But again, I don't know. They're in a knife fight. I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna enjoy it. I'm gonna go to the Democratic National Convention and have the time of my life. I'm going to have so much fun just watching it and the game, the show. I'm going to have so much fun. They're in a 17-way knife fight. It's like the Royal Rumble, man. Anything can happen. I'm not putting bets on anyone right now. Thank you for the call. All right, we got 4 more callers. We're going to take you in this order, so don't talk yet. Santa Maria, then a person with a 972 area code, then Phoenix, then someone with a 703 area code. So we got 4 more calls. I'm going to get to all of you. Don't hang up. If you call in after, if you call in now, I'll try to take you, but no promises. But I will take these next 4 calls, beginning with you, Santa Maria, California. Maybe not. Santa Maria, 805 area code. Okay. 972 area code.
Yes, hi. Thank you for taking my call, Mike. I'm calling in on the topic you're making this video about. I messaged you also and asked you on this topic, and I'm not a bot, and I wasn't intending on bullying, and I'm happy I have the opportunity to talk to you about it. You don't have to do whatever you want, and you don't have to do anything. You could just do whatever you want. I just want to understand why you don't think that if you have such a big following, and if you see most of your followers are Trump supporters, why don't you think that a video like this discourages people from voting for him? And the danger of not voting for him in 2020 is the policies that the Democrats are putting up on the table now is terrifying. And I know that in part by following you. And if anyone in the Democratic Party will win in 2020, he, she, or it will have every right in saying that we said everything we want to do in March 2019. You voted us in, and we can do whatever we want. So by discouraging people...
Okay, great. So I understand your question, sir, and I appreciate it, and your question's a fair one. And the question is, Mike, am I discouraging people from voting for Trump by doing these streams? And it's a complicated question and a complicated one for me to answer. I'll tell you why. I'm not telling people to or not vote for anyone. I'm only... The issue when you become a personality like me, you have an audience, and there is an accountability to it. There is because I like most of the people who read me. I genuinely, we have events. They're so high consciousness. They're so high vibe. I just got a message from a friend of mine saying, I love this. He's very high consciousness. He said, I love these call-in shows. The callers are always really at a higher level because I curate people, and I do that with authenticity, openness, transparency, and accountability. So I'm just explaining to people, here's what I'm doing to you because I care about you and I want you. It's a conversation we're having. It isn't just me holding court and I'm, some kind of king and listen to me or well, else you peasants. It's more like let's just talk about it. So all I'm doing is explaining to people that, hey, I like you. We're having a conversation. Here's why I'm changing some things up. It's just FYI. Now, a lot of people might say because they like me, well, if Mike doesn't like Trump, I don't like him either. Or, yeah, Mike doesn't care about Trump. I don't care about Trump either. I can't control that. People are going to make their own choices based on mine. And all I can do is share with people my own growth, my own vision, my own path forward. And then whatever people do, the chips are going to fall where they may.
I see. One more thing I want to ask. You said before that you would give him an 8.5. I'm just curious what you would give George W. Bush.
I'd give George W. Bush like a 4. The Iraq War was a pretty bad. Yeah,
That's exactly my point as well. That after all, I don't like him either, and I really don't. But after all, you're giving him an 8.5. That's an achievement, Mike.
Oh, Trump's the greatest president of my lifetime. There's no. Yeah, that's why. Don't get it. Trump is the greatest president of my lifetime by far, without question. And but that doesn't mean that I can't do other things in my life in 2019 and 2020, right? And a lot of people. Here's here's what I think a lot of you people should be asking yourselves too, right? Has the Trump campaign done anything to promote my film? Have a big film out? They done anything for me? Not really. Not really. No, they just haven't. So from my perspective, it's like I can do other things. And I'm not getting any support from them. I'm not getting any kind of help from them. So why, it's like I know that there's America and everything else, but I'm not a martyr. I'm not trying to die at 41 years old of a heart attack or a car accident or some kind of thing like that. I'm not getting any support from anyone. And they're all just doing God knows what with hundreds of millions of dollars. So they can go, do their thing. And so if people have a problem with me not doing anything for Trump, maybe you should ask, yeah, why have you guys never helped Cernovich out? Why have you never promoted his film, right? Why haven't you ever done anything for him? He did so much. But instead, people get frustrated with me. It's like, well, maybe you ought to be saying, yeah, none of you guys have done it. He's got a big film out. It's great. The film's selling well. It's being seen in 103 countries. Nothing from Hannity, nothing from Limbaugh, nothing from anybody, nothing. Now, what does that tell me? It tells me, and this is why I love all of you, I don't need them to have a film be a breakthrough. I don't need them. They need me, though. I can tell you that. In this relationship, I don't need Trump. I don't need MAGA. I don't need pro-Trump, this or that. So I can tell you that as I continue going my own way, I can tell you who's going to be losing out in the relationship because I get nothing from them and they got a lot from me. So people, rather than worry so much about me, maybe you should, ask these people, yeah, what have you guys ever done for Cernovich? You ever promoted his film? You ever done anything like that? Or you just all counting big money, flying private jets or whatever? That's just real talk, bro.
I'm in with you on this all the way, and thank you very much for help.
Thank you, my friend. Phoenix, Arizona, how you doing?
Hi, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
You can or cannot?
We can. You're a little...
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm a little what?
We hear you.
Okay. So I had a couple of things I wanted to just say to you, but I've been listening to the past callers, so now I've got a lot of things. I totally understand where you're coming from. I don't find you to be offensive when you're saying that you don't support Trump. We all have something, not that you don't support Trump, I take that back, but the way you're phrasing it comes off as you don't possibly care because people don't really listen or they don't look at the nuances. They don't kind of see everything in context. So I get it about people not, yourself especially, not really being pro-Trump, yay, 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 because they aren't necessarily cheerleading you. When me personally, I've been following you, reading you, watching you since you were like 88,000 followers, so way back. So I've kind of watched it all play out. And I have to be honest, I don't watch you as much, and I don't read you as much, but I do read you. And I come back 3 or 4 times a week and go through your timeline. I look at the videos.
Which is a lot. Thank you. No, 3 times a week is amazing. If you're reading me once a week, I'm very, very happy. I'm very grateful. Once a week is great.
Yeah, and the reason why I'm saying that, though, there was a time, and I have a feeling there's a lot of us that will relate to what I'm saying, that were every night, like, looking for you to go live. Because when Periscope would go live, people would be like so excited, like, oh my God, Mike is like he's doing a cigar tweet or cigar Periscope. So what I wanted to tell you is somewhere along the way, where we're at with all the politics and Trump and what's going on, what's not going on, we're all kind of getting separated by, are we all on the same team? And unfortunately, some people point the finger that it's your fault. No, it's their fault. It's his fault for not doing this. It's Trump's fault for not doing that. What I'm seeing is most of us who are honest brokers, we are really just looking for truth everywhere. So when somebody disagrees with something that somebody says, such as you, for example, all of a sudden, oh, he's a shill, or oh, he's not MAGA, or he's this or that, and it's just so frustrating. So I can see why you've kind of gotten off of the bus. It's not that you're not still going the same direction. It's just, shut up already. Quit telling me who I am and who I'm not,
And that's how all of us are feeling. So when we're watching you, my frustration, and I don't even know if that's the right word, so if I choose the wrong words, bear with me. I was watching you before you had babies. I've watched you grow. I've watched the excitement of life for you, and your life is taking a different direction. I totally get where you're at. And so many of us loved you because, from my viewpoint, you really helped Donald Trump get elected. I really believe that. And a lot of people will say, oh, he's a shit, or he's Mossad, or he's this, all kinds of baloney. And it's like, when I hear other people say stuff, but I like them as much as I like you, all of a sudden I'm like, well, who's what, what's what? And it's like, because I don't know you personally, I can't say 100% how I really feel about something, because right now I think everybody's really confused about so many topics. The news tells us one thing, and then the online news, all you new journalist types, tell us something else. So it's like we're all left out in the woods trying to decipher, well, where do we go? Are we going to go off the cliff, or are we going to, like, a safe space? And I don't mean that in like a social justice safe space. I mean, we really just want to know what's going on. So without saying much more, we really are hungry for truth. And back in the day when you were doing everything you were doing with the Hillary's health stuff, that really pushed the needle. It really did, amongst other things. And you deserve credit for that. I don't care if nobody else says it. I know it, and I've watched you all the way, and somebody can't talk me in or out of liking you. But today, just so you know from a viewer that's been with you a long time, it makes me sad because sometimes you say and do things that I understand why you're doing it, but then other times you do and say things that I'm like, whoa, what is he talking about? Because it doesn't align with all the stuff I'm touching, seeing, feeling, reading, touching, eating, whatever, as far as media. So here I am watching you today, and I haven't in a long time, and I just happened to get on your live stream, and you're talking to me, which is a blessing, because it's like it's meant to happen in my eyes. So here's what I'm going to say, and please don't get mad at me because I'm not trying to stir up trouble. But you tweet stuff out sometimes, and you encourage people that in media, it's like you're chickening them. Like, here, how about do this tweet now? You know, it's like they say something, and you realize they're being totally assholes and liars. So you feed them a little bit of information, and you goad them into, like, reporting on what the real news is. Or why aren't you covering this type of topics? You do that all the time brilliantly. So where my question is, and this is the part that I promise you I'm not trying to stir anything up. I'm just being honest, and I'm sure 1 million of your listeners are the same way. You did hoaxed. Great. You're always leading us to looking for truth and how things are fake. We get it, and you're like a rock star for that. But when it comes to today's constant topic, a lot of us are looking elsewhere and being fed information that a lot of us see a lot of truth in, and you won't touch it. And I understand you don't want to touch it because you don't want the heat to come down. Other people say it's because you're part of it. So if something is a hoax, since that's your expertise, why doesn't anybody, especially you, just come out and ask in public to Trump, is QAnon real or not? What do you think of it? Because nobody will ask him that, because there's all these thousands of stories that say Q is a hoax, it's a conspiracy, don't look at it, it's all by the left, but you won't chime in one way or another other than little bits and pieces. So why doesn't one person like you be brave enough, like when you went to the White House in the press room and you stood up and asked why people weren't coming Antifa? Why don't you do the same thing and ask President Trump, what about Q?
So
you would be the only person who would be brave enough to do it, and half the country would be like cheering you on because finally it would be asked, and every one of us would be like, wow, Cernovich is a brave motherfucker.
Okay, I'll ask you. Okay, so let's talk about.
That's my question.
So I'm gonna answer your question with the question: what is my margin of error before I get completely wiped away from the internet? How many more mistakes will I be able to make?
And I understand that. I thought about that. I thought if you were to touch this, what happens is that potentially you disappear off of the media, and that would be unfortunate because you are covering things that we still need to know about. I get that. And what ends up happening is we now are able to get information that you're providing that we might not otherwise. So if you touch the third rail, you might be gone. I totally get that.
Right. So that's no.
Time is now that everybody needs to wake up to something that might have a lot of truth to it. So I see your dilemma, but I'm just telling you as somebody who, if you were my neighbor, this is going to sound so corny, and Shauna, if you're listening, I apologize, but I love you, Mike. And I don't mean that in a, I love you, I'm going to come stalk you way. I mean, I've watched you for a while, and I was so excited watching you all the time. And to see where I'm at today, where I'm sometimes hesitant to, like, wonder what you're up to and have other voices telling me who you may or may not be, this is my moment to let you know that's where I'm at, and it sucks because I want to continue loving you, and I don't have any reason not to other than what I'm telling you, because all this other stuff seems so authentic, the QAnon stuff. A lot of it seems weird, but when you research it, which I do, I don't just take what they're saying. I actually go in and I start looking at stuff. I spend hours on that QAnon stuff, hours. And some of it's frightening stuff, and I can't deny it. But nobody's talking about it in a real way, and I just don't understand why you, of all people, being hoaxed, why you can't do it other than what I just discussed. I get it, but isn't there a time where we need to realize that maybe this stuff really is going on?
So you raise a lot of points. It's a good thing I have a very stable brain. One is, yeah, I people love the call-in.
The fact that you haven't hung up on me and I said QAnon, that right there should tell everybody that you're not anti it. You just have maybe a valid reason that we're not aware of in the background why you're not doing it.
Right. So there's a number of issues. One is I quit doing live streams because I was doing hoax and getting back into my health and everything like that. And I miss doing them. I miss doing the call-in shows. It really is a joy to hear from people. By the way, you have a great voice for radio. So if you don't have a podcast or a YouTube, you should start one, because I don't have a great voice.
I don't have Twitter. I only read you. I'm not signed up, so I've never made one tweet to anybody. I don't have a Facebook account. I don't do any of that stuff. I email and I use a phone. I'm only 49, by the way. I'm not some old kook. I have a lot to say, but I don't have an outlet to do it. And whenever I respond to people like yourself and other citizen journalists, they never respond to me via email. Lots of different ideas, and it's like I'm invisible. But I don't really choose to. I don't want to be a public figure. I don't want to have people talking to me.
Okay, perfect.
But I appreciate that, and I promise you, there's millions of us just like me.
Sure. So the QAnon stuff, there's a reason I don't touch it, and the reason I don't touch it is the margin of error for me to talk about certain zero. They're looking to ban me. They blame Pizzagate on me, where if you actually look back at what I said, you can very clearly, they just lie. Yeah, it's a lie. So the media, they'll lie about things that I never even said or didn't even do. So for me, if there's a subject, I just don't touch it. Either way, I'm not going to attack it. I'm not going to debunk it. I'm not going to amplify. I just don't say anything about it. Because what the media will do, let's say I debunked it, right? Would you believe it? So just bear with me, just humor me. Let's say the media would say, Mike Cernovich, who constantly talks about the QAnon conspiracy, is saying the following, and then there'll be some kind of shooting or something, and then they'll say that I propagated the Q thing, and they'll frame me. So what a lot of people have to understand is it isn't just what I talk about that I have to be mindful of. It's what they can frame me for. That's every day of my life. Oh, if I word things, yeah.
I have to really tell you. Okay, I'm going to sound like a total cornball, but I'm being honest, and maybe you remember me from maybe 3 or 4 different times I called in the last couple of years on your live stream. I've prayed about this, and already that would make people think I'm some nutball. That's fine. I love Jesus. I'm proud. I've actually prayed about it. And I had actually even indicated to you that I think that you have a blessing on you, that you have some gift of the thing that makes you shine, okay? We don't need to go in that. You know it. I know it. Anybody who honestly looks at you, they know that, especially if they know the Lord. So with that said, I'm so glad that you took my call because it has weighed on my heart so much. I have also in my prayer time understood exactly what you just said. So to hear you say it just confirms. You're trying to keep yourself safe because we're living in a crazy world. And as soon as you get associated with something, especially if it's something as dark as the Pizzagate thing, which, no, you didn't start that. Yes, you touched on it here and there, but we all did. It was pretty interesting to look at. So I'm guilty of that too. Is there truth to it? Who knows? Not the scenario that was
Right, but they'll frame me. Right. So that's the big picture. That's
the subject matter.
right.
That's a bigger story. But put that aside. What I'm trying to say about you.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. It isn't just what I say, it's what they can say that I've said. And a lot of people don't fully get that, right? It's been 3 years or whatever, and they still try to claim that I spread something I didn't spread. So for me, whatever the controversial issues of the day are, I'm just staying away from it because I'm not about to be framed because they're looking to frame me. Area code 703.
Hey there, Mike. How's it going?
Good.
Just reeling this back into something a lot more practical about this, modern theory of debt. It's kind of interesting because you kind of see people fall on one side or the other, and it's sort of the school of bean counters or the school of, pragmatists. And, we do have a historical precedent. George H.W. Bush saw the debt to GDP ratio go from 50 to 55%, and 50% was his line in the sand, and he flipped his lid and raised taxes and became a one-term president overnight, even after winning the Gulf War in a stunning and incredible victory, which shot his approval rating to 80%. So, I mean, we kind of have a precedent for this, and Trump never claimed to be somebody who was going to cut back Social Security and cut down Medicare and do all these things and be some kind of, Scott Walker Republican. So, I just asked the bean counter crowd to just look at history and realize, Trump could cut the debt by $3 or $4 trillion bucks, and he'd be a one-term president. That would be that.
Yeah, that's another great point. Trump never ran on balancing the budget. So now Democrats claim they cared about the budget until they got their House majority back, and now suddenly we don't really care about spending. So I fall into this is how kind of I view global warming as well. Glenn, he's a law professor at the University of Tennessee, the Insta pundit, Glenn Reynolds. He said, I will view global warming as a crisis when the people telling me it's a crisis treat it as one. So if you're flying to Davos, 10,000 corporate jets, and then you're going on yachts to tell me, I just don't believe it. That's why people go, what's your opinion on global warming? Well, the people who tell me global warming is real sure aren't living like it. And that tends to be my view of the national debt is if the people who are claiming it is such a mess and we better fix it, live like that, then I'll take it seriously. But until then, I'll remain agnostic about it. Thank you for the call. Las Vegas, Nevada.
Hey, how you doing, bud? It's been a while since I called. I just want to make one quick comment about the Q thing. In general, you probably shouldn't trust somebody that speaks in riddles. And ultimately, in the end, if there are some secret arrests about to happen, we still got elections to win. That's what's most important. So on that subject, Mike Cernovich's time and money would probably be more effectively spent on GOP primaries against neoconservatives rather than, helping or supporting Trump. It'd be nice if you supported Trump, but we have a lot more Paul Ryans to get rid of. Like Mitch McConnell, if we find a nice combat vet to primary him, we could probably do a lot more damage than we could, spending our time helping Trump, honestly. Just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah. If I were really going to go big into politics, there'd be a lot more targeted and more intelligent ways to do it. The Justice Democrats, everybody loves to hate AOC, but they did a smart thing. The Young Turks and others did a smart thing. They said, let's find a few races. Let's get 5 people in Congress. I think they ended up getting 17 or something. They ended up having a great success. So if people really wanted the so-called MAGA agenda to work, then they should be doing that. Find some vulnerable seats, run people who are actually really pro-Trump people and do that. Me, my time and effort and energy is going to be spent on so many other things, not having to deal with races. 2 more calls. Santa Maria, California.
Hey, Mike.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
So I called you just about your title. You know, I'm a Trump voter and supporter and super frustrated, but I wanted to say that idea, the idea of somebody primarying Trump, a journalist I saw did a thing on it, and I agree. Even if it was just somebody that was popular enough to hit headlines, get some TV views, to speak about being part of the MAGA agenda and saying how he voted for Trump. And these are the things that we're disappointed about, and I'm going to do it. And, you know, shit, you never know, may gain momentum and win, or it'll at least wake Trump up. Because obviously folks like the Q followers and stuff, they just want to trust. Nobody's demanding anything. We've seen some tweets that are like Trump's acting like censorship's out of his hands. So 2020 will be lost with censorship. If that's not fixed, forget it. And do I care? Yeah, because I don't want our nation turned over forever. That would be it. I really doubt that if it went Democrat, we'd ever get it back. So I care, but I really do. I really wish somebody would challenge Trump and hold his feet to the fire and get that out there for the masses to see, because I know the polls and stuff, they're bullshit. It's like they never learned anything, but there is a bit of truth to it. There's a lot of disenfranchised people that thought Trump was going to be the one to save free speech, and it's gotten worse. That's gotten worse. I mean, we're doomed if 2020 goes left. It's going to be pretty bad. So I hope somebody wealthy is watching that can at least get some airtime and challenge Trump and really hold, campaign on the MAGA agenda.
Yeah, thank you for the call. That would be somebody primarying Trump and running on a MAGA agenda would be quite interesting. And I might know somebody who is thinking about doing that. We'll just leave it at that. Last caller, Arcola, Virginia. How are you?
Hey, how's it going, man? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hey, what's going on? Hey, so I hear everyone's frustration, and I definitely understand the wisdom of, let's hold Trump's feet to the fire. Let's really get out there and criticize him and kind of, on the things that got him elected. Let's really go hard at him and get on him. But the left is so terrifying, this field of people out there. The stuff they're talking about, whether it be the extreme abortion thing, like gleefully celebrating it, lighting up the Empire State Building, reparations, changing the Electoral College, stacking the Supreme Court. I mean, these people are out of control. So while I see, the idea of, really going at Trump and challenging him publicly and all this stuff, at a certain point we need to circle the wagons, as supporters and as just lovers of America, because just the stakes are too high. We can't lose this one. We can't have infighting like the Democrats, kind of have right now, because it's simple as that. The stakes are too high. I mean, these people, it's terrifying, to see what they want to do to this country if they win. So, I mean, I just want to get your thoughts on that. I mean, so I see that, it's like a conflict. Like we need to hold his feet to the fire, like Ann Coulter. Like, that's good. Let's hold his feet to the fire. Let's get the wall. We all voted for him for that. But, on the other hand, let's not nitpick too much and peel off support and cause fractures.
Well, and this is a good way to end, because it segues to the beginning, which is, it's just not my concern. There are other people who can do that, and I'm doing other things. I'm focusing on other things, and I'm not anti-Trump. I'm not anti-people being pro-Trump. It's just not my, it's just not my thing, not my bag. People are going to do what they're going to do. God bless all of you Do what you want to do. Be passionate. Live life. Mike Cernovich will be living life in 2019 and 2020, doing things other than elections, other than pro-Trump stuff, other than that. But everybody else can do whatever they want. Thanks for watching Mike Cernovich. Go to CERNOVICH.com. I have podcasts, mindset material. I'm going to go take a cold shower, actually. Actually, I'm going to take a cold plunge, more than a cold shower. So I'm about to be a very cold man. But I'll see you at the Korean spa for the ice cold, bone chilling cold, and the Wim Hof breathing. Mike Cernovich, CERNOVICH.com.